This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Jed's Barbershop. With 3 locations now, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday 9 to 7, and Sunday 12 to 5. They have a location downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. They just opened up a 3rd location at 167 East, 900 South, right next to Randy's Records. No appointment is necessary. Head on over to jedsbarbershop.com for more information.
Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
You know, I feel like I don't know how many episodes that intro. I wonder if listeners are getting sick of that intro.
I wonder too. We should take a vote.
We should take a vote, or we should just make a new one.
Yeah.
That intro has probably been on over 200 episodes.
Probably.
It's hard to believe I made that, and I think it's time to make a new one.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do there. But let's welcome everybody out today to episode 264 of I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name's Chris Hollifield.
And I'm Chrissy Shelley.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back week after week as we introduce you to people here in Salt Lake, share their stories on the podcast, let you know what they've been up to. So on this episode of the podcast, we sit down with Matthew Nanes and Liz Aponte from Swans of Never. It was really cool to have the both of them on the podcast.
It was fun to get their each unique perspectives, too.
Absolutely. Matt's actually been on the podcast twice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make that a normal thing on the podcast, you know, because there's so many stories of people here in Salt Lake. And so it's like you want to give them each an opportunity. But when Matt reached out to me and he kind of told me this story of how, you know, here he was getting Swans of Never back together after 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I had to bring him on the show and let him share his story.
Right. Because it's a reborn project.
Exactly.
So there's a lot to be said for it.
Plus bringing a new face onto the show, Liz.
Yeah.
She got to share her story a little bit, kind of what brought her to Utah, because she's not originally from Utah.
She's not. She's a very interesting girl.
And so her and I were able to kind of geek out about Ventura a little bit because she's from my hometown there. So I'm going to put all the links that you can go back and listen to the back episodes with Matthew at iamsaltlake.com/264 for the show notes for this episode. So go back and listen to the first few times he was on the podcast. And we're going to get into that Swans of Never interview here in just a second. But last night, you and we decided to celebrate Valentine's Day.
Quick while we didn't have the kids.
Quick while we didn't have the kids, a little bit early.
Yes.
You decided, hey, Chris, let's go to this place called Frank's.
I made an executive decision.
Which I've never actually even heard of the place. I feel embarrassed to say that. Like, everybody automatically expects, oh, you're Mr. Salt Lake.
Right. You should have know everything.
Been to all of these restaurants.
Yeah. And you've been to the one right next to it, Tuscany.
I've never been there.
You've been there, but you've driven around there.
Yeah, well, I've driven around
there. And Frank's is kind of tucked away.
I guess, is it the same owners?
It must be. They're kind of like sister restaurants, it seems like.
Connected somehow.
Yeah. And everyone at my office talks about it so much. It's like the place to go
so
when it's an anniversary or like a date
It was
night.
fancy. I had to make sure I had clean jeans, you know? I was like, are these going to be nice enough? These jeans, they don't have any holes in the knees, you know?
You always look so nice.
And
it was quaint though. It was like, it's a nice restaurant. The food's delicious, but at the same time, it doesn't feel too fancy.
How would you describe it? Somebody listening, how would you describe their food, Chrissy?
Their food? Oh man, really, really good. The crispy Brussels sprouts that I was obsessed with because people kept talking about them were better than I thought they would be. How would you describe the food?
Well, just, I don't know, American,
it's like new
local,
American.
Clean, like it's not
I would
fast
say clean.
Food.
Very
it's
clean.
not, obviously it's not fast food. That was kind of silly to say. But it's just good, wholesome food. The flavor is amazing.
And there's a fireplace. It's kind of like a big living room. It's not a large restaurant. And it's a very nice ambiance.
Yeah, go check them out. They're located at 6263 Holiday Boulevard. There in Holiday, like Chrissy said, right next to Tuscany. if you have food recommendations for Chrissy and I to check out,
We'll give you our real opinion.
Send us an email. You can send either one of us an email. You can find that on the website at iamsaltlake.com. We'd love to go check it out, give you a little bit of a review, so to speak. Hey, this episode is also sponsored by our friends at Oleo Skin and Beard. If you're like us, your skin is dry, your beard is dry, you need to moisturize.
If you're in your 30s like me, you're going to start getting acne and wrinkles. So take care of those.
Sounds exciting. Oleo Skin and Beard carries an amazing line of skin oils, beard butters for moisturizing and shaping the beard. Even some great facial cleansers like Chrissy was mentioning there. Mm-hmm. Head on over to their website, oleoskin.com. You can order directly on the website, or you can also find out what shops locally they're carried at. I know they're carried at a handful of the barbershops and other local shops in the area. Again, oleoskin.com. Go check them out. Post your pictures on Instagram. Tag them. Tag us. We want to know what you're getting of their products. Hey, like I said, on this episode, Matthew Nanes and Liz Aponte, hopefully I'm pronouncing her name right. I think so, yes.
I think so.
From Swans of Never, were on this episode. They shared their story. They talked music, talked rock and roll. We talked what they like about Salt Lake. We're even going to play a Swans of Never song on the very end of this episode. So without any more chit-chat on our end, let's jump into that conversation with Matt and Liz. Enjoy. I'm going to have both of you guys introduce yourselves for the listeners, kind of tell what you play in Swans of Never, and we'll go from there.
Cool. I'm Matthew Nanes. I write the songs, I play guitar, and I sing and I yell.
And I'm Liz Aponte, and I play drums.
Awesome. We'll get into that. Matthew Nanes has actually been on, you were on episode 40.
Yes.
In episode 125. Mm-hmm. You're one of the lucky few who have been back through here on the third time.
Trifecta.
You know, I mean, and I get emails all the time from people. There's so many people that want to come on the podcast. And it's like, it's so difficult to get everybody. But I think it's really cool. Kind of when you reached out to me, you're like, hey, you know what? We're bringing the band back together after 6 years?
Yeah, it was a long time since I've used this name or even had a band with this moniker. Because in one of the episodes prior, I was explaining, I had this thing, Swans of Never. I wanted it to be like a loud band, but it never really ended up that way. It's just kind of, I couldn't get like the right pieces together, or it just didn't work out. But after, a few years and I've known Liz and Alex for a really long time, it just made a lot of sense to start playing with each other. And we actually tried to have a different band name, but whenever I tried to throw it out to other people, like, I think this other band name's really cool, all of the response I got back was like, no.
What was the band names? Like,
well, it took
really hokey or what?
No, it was really cool in that like early 90s emo way. Like we were going to be like Hour of Need because how we ended up playing together is that we all went to the same church and they needed some musicians. So it's like, we've known each other for so long. Like, let's just do it. It makes a lot of sense.
Was it like one of those rock churches?
Yeah, it actually was the rock church.
Do you still go there?
Actually, no, but that's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast. We don't need to get into that right now necessarily.
But we've just known each other for so long and it just made a lot of sense. And then, as we're kind of like arranging these songs, it's like, hey, I've got some of these other songs too. And then when we stopped playing for the church, we're just like, well, what do we do? It's like, let's just keep playing because
you guys played so well together, right? Is that kind of the story?
Yeah, we all love rock and roll, and so this allows us to just kind of rock out a little more than we did in our church band.
So Liz, you're not from Utah.
I am not. No,
Where are you from?
Southern California.
Where are you from in California?
A little town called Moore Park. It's in Ventura County.
I grew up in Ventura.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Ventura.
805.
805. Born and raised. Moved to Utah though. Barely 16 years old.
Okay.
So and now I'm 39. So you do the math.
Yeah.
Quite a few years ago. I still have family there.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we bring people through here that still have Ventura roots. Like it's amazing to me how many people from Ventura County
have come
It
here
is.
to.
What keeps you guys here? Because I know you guys like probably complain about the weather a lot.
What keeps us here, right?
It is very affordable here.
Now you do.
Oh, now I do. That's fair.
Yeah.
Affordability. I'm
Yeah.
down with that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I couldn't even imagine. I mean, the cost of living in Ventura County
Yeah.
is ridiculous, especially Moore Park. I used to take violin lessons in Moore Park.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So Thousand Oaks, Moore
Yep,
Park there.
Simi
and-
Valley. all
But
that.
yeah, Moore Park. Wow, we could talk after the podcast.
Yeah.
So Liz, what brought you to Utah then?
So it was actually my now husband, Alex, who plays bass in our band too. So he was living here. He's originally from Florida, of all places, and moved out here. He joined a band called The Almost, who were based out of here at the time. And he just really loved it and ended up moving out here from the Orlando area. And so Matt was actually one of the first friends I had from Utah. We met, I think, at Warped Tour 2005 or something
You are
like
correct.
that.
You are
Yeah.
correct.
Like just in like watching the bands.
Actually,
Yeah, you take it.
it was actually the Ventura Warped Tour. And I was like a senior in high school at the time, but I also make drums. So I had a drum company with a friend of mine, and we had a booth at Warped Tour. And so Kevin from Day 2, because Day 2 was on Warped Tour, just came by and said, "Hey, I think my drummer might be interested in your drums." And then that's how I got connected with basically the whole Utah scene.
Because were you were playing in Day 2 then at that time, man?
Yeah. Yeah, I think what would really happen is that I wasn't in the band at the
Are
time.
you calling me a liar?
No. I'm actually
I think he did.
no. I think maybe. But I rejoined. I rejoined the band in 06, and you were there at the
Oh,
Utah
okay.
show, and that's when I met you. And we talked for like 30, 40 minutes that day.
Yeah.
And so yeah, because I had a period where I wasn't in that band anymore. But then it's like, oh, meet my friend Liz, and we just hit it off. And that's
Yeah.
that's
I
where it
just
started.
want to know a little bit more about these drums. Do you still make them?
I do. It's more of a hobby. I was doing it more full time, probably 5 or 6 years back. I kind of lost the passion for it. And then there's a ton of competition, and people just wanted free stuff, and I couldn't
Yeah.
make free stuff. But yeah, it's awesome. I would basically take someone's idea for a drum, they wanted it to sound like, what they wanted it to look like, and make that a reality.
Did you make kits or did you make just individual different kinds of drums?
Yeah, I made full kits. I kind of specialized on snare drums since it was less inventory, and most drummers are pretty brand loyal to their drums, but they have
Yes.
multiple snare drums. So I focused on that for the most part.
That's actually really smart. I dig it. Now I want to buy a snare drum.
Yeah.
Do it.
So what instrument do you play again, Liz?
Drums.
Drums.
Yeah.
Well, that's fitting, I guess.
So she's familiar with her product.
Do you play any other instruments, Liz?
I grew up trying to play piano and guitar and trombone at one point, but once I turned 13 or 14, the drums is I tried that just in middle school band.
Sure.
And
Like the standing snare drum?
Yeah, started off with the snare drum, and to my parents'
Yeah.
dismay, that's the instrument that really stuck out for me. So I moved from a snare drum to a full drum kit and have been playing ever since.
You don't see a lot of females playing drums, though, these days.
You don't.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, it's
That's
fun.
really cool.
You must
And-
be highly coordinated.
Oh, that's the funny part is that I'm not at all. I'm probably the clumsiest person you'll ever meet.
Did you take drum lessons or anything? Self-taught?
I took lessons for a couple of years from the ages of like 13 to 15.
Okay.
But from there, it was more, once I learned how to listen to a song and break it down and play it, I just kind of said, I don't need lessons anymore. I'll just listen to the punk bands that I like to listen to and learn how to play fast. So
Say again how long Swans Have Never Been broken up, I guess?
Yeah, in some
Because
it pretty much was like I was like breaking up with myself in a way. Like,
yeah, because
breaking
wasn't
up
it
with an
just
idea.
you, right?
Yeah, it
Playing,
started
or-
like, I had all intents and purposes of making this big, loud rock band, and the first show I did have a couple musicians with me, but sometimes like people's schedules don't work out, and I just thought it was easier at the time, just like screw it, I'm just going to do it myself. The whole like DIY thing.
Sure,
I was just
sure.
like, I'm just going to go for it. But there came a time where once in a while I have a full band, but then I'll do like 4 straight solo shows. So it wasn't very consistent for what people would.
Did you just
expect.
kind of, for lack of a better word, hire other musicians to
Yeah,
come
like-
and play your music with you?
Yeah,
Instead of
I mean,
having a complete band that stay together?
Yeah. And so, I definitely had a cast of characters. I have a friend like, oh, you play guitar. I want to learn these 5 songs real quick for the show. And it was just, it's a lot of work trying to show someone like a brand new set, like, oh, and you have a month and a half to learn it. And it just sucked a lot of energy out for me, if you will. So I was like, I'm just going to do this on my own. Go by my name, so there's no pretense. No, someone's not going to show up to a show and expecting this loud thing where I'm just like a dude with an acoustic guitar. I just didn't feel like that was too honest.
But you were doing some acoustic stuff at one time. But you weren't doing that under Swans of Never?
No. I kind of retired the name at that point because it just felt dishonest to myself. All the weird like artist ways,
like your vision of the project.
Yeah, just the vision of everything. Yep.
So what made you decide to get it back together then?
Yeah, it's just that whole thing with playing at the church, because I think there's like a misconception that if you're playing at a church or whatever else, like you're sacrificing a lot of the art out of it. And I think in some sense it's true, because you have to stay true to some songs that you're playing, or trying to figure out how to make it interesting or whatnot. But the thing is, what's so awesome about Liz and Alex is that they both love music a lot. Like they just don't want to stay confined in the friendly confines, if you will.
Yeah.
With
the church music, did you guys actually write your own music, and was it like God rock, like Jesus?
Kind of, yeah.
Jesus rock.
Yeah, no, totally. And
God rock.
Isn't God rock the name of an actual band, like a Christian?
There should be. I wouldn't listen to it.
Sure
there should be, but I'm sure there is. But no, probably not. But the thing is that we're all just kind of. But the thing is, like, I feel like we all love music so much, and we have such high bar for ourselves and what we want to do, at least what we feel like the gifts God gave us or whatever. It's like, well, we love playing music, we love playing to people, like we don't care where we're going to play it, we love being creative, so we're going to do that no matter what. And so it's like, well, this seems fitting, like let's just take the name and just start playing. And it's taken a little while to get there, to book shows, get the train back going again. But I think we're all pretty stoked that we're like, okay, yeah, we're playing shows at clubs again. Like Liz said, Alex was in a band that toured a lot, so that's just like what he does. And I've toured a lot, and it's just kind of, it just doesn't leave you.
It's just your guys' passion.
Yeah.
Do you hope to like do some big tours with Swans of Never?
Well, first of all, since the last time we talked, I added another kid, like,
so how many kids do you have now?
I got 2 now. And so it's like, okay, we got to be realistic and pragmatic at this point of our career. Cause I started touring when I was 19 years old.
Just do it before you have 3. Then it's over.
Yeah. And I think what we're just doing is just like one thing at a time. Cause we love writing songs. We love playing shows. And like, say if an opportunity came up, we'd kind of visit that when we get there. But I think for us, we're just kind of being selfish in a way that we're just like, what, we just want to hang out. We want to keep hanging out and playing music. So it's really more out of friendship.
You have pretty
anything.
Good chemistry, the 3 of you, right? Is that?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all tend to be on the same page musically. And just like Matt said, like we just take things as they come. Definitely work towards things. We want to make our music excellent and sound good and have fun, but we're not, having this lofty goal that we might have had. I know I had when I was 18 or 19, where I'm like, I need to be touring by this age, and if not, I'm a failure or something like that.
Did you used to feel that way?
Kind of, yeah.
Really?
And I had, and it's funny too, because I played with a band and we did a Warped Tour, and I did 2 months of touring, and I'm like, I'm good.
What band were you playing with?
I was a band called Down for the Count. They're based out of Los Angeles, and we played a few shows out here with like LaRusso. I don't know if you've heard of those guys, but this was probably 10 years ago.
Okay.
But it was a good time. But at least for me at that point in time, I didn't want to make touring a living.
I want to get back to obviously Swans of Never, but I just had kind of a question based on that. Like the end goal for a band, like how do you know you've made it? Okay. Is there a made it?
Or is it about making it really?
You know what I mean? Like, is that really what it's about? Like, kind of that, okay, we're signed by a label or we're touring or this and that. And it's like, we finally made it as a band, or can you make it as a band and just play locally?
I think it's all relative, because I think Liz and I, and especially Alex, like we've all had various levels of success, but ultimately it was just like, maybe this wasn't at all cracked up to be in a sense. I can speak for myself and say like, I've toured for 2 years, and then, you're looking out of the van window, you're like, I wonder what's the next thing I'm going to do. Like there comes a certain point where either you had these expectations and then you can kind of see the writing on the wall and you're like, wow, those expectations aren't being met, and that's definitely, and I think everyone kind of goes through that in their life a little bit.
Like you hit that milestone and you're like, I was supposed to be happy now.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're still missing something. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for us, if we can jam like once a week, and we're like, I mean, I'm saying this with like no hyperbole at all. Like I feel like we're good enough to only practice once a week. It's not gonna be our lives. We're gonna have dinner or coffee before we play. we practice, and we're gonna hang out and have a good time. So it's all relative, And so for me, like writing great songs and playing them and hang out with my friends, especially after the fact when I've tried so hard, to do this one thing, it's actually a lot more freeing. I'm having a lot more fun than I've ever had.
And isn't that the end goal, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the end goal, is to have fun, be happy. I mean,
yeah, I really think the older you are and the more you've actually been successful, the more you're like, oh, it's success. Like there's no like top goal that once you make it, everything's going to be great and you're going to be super happy. And then you kind of are like, oh, I just want to have fun with this.
Yeah.
I think it's a good, that's a good point.
I think even if you're a musician or not whatever you do, say you're an artist or you're an author or, a podcast or whatever, it's like, instead of focusing on focus on what you have right now in front of you,
right,
and have some fun. And I mean, I can remind Chrissy's over there laughing at me because I could learn a lot from my own words, but
can't we all?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, in all honesty, we really can. But anyway, I forgot where my train of thought was there with the head. Oh, it made it. We were talking about the band. I don't think I asked you this one. I was kind of curious. In the beginning, you were kind of talking about how with Swans of Never, you were playing by yourself because you couldn't find anybody. Why is this situation different?
It just feels so, it feels really like cliche to say it, but it really just feels natural. It's just been so easy.
Sure. And it wasn't natural or easy with anybody. It was pulling fingernails.
Pulling teeth, fingernails, eyeballs, just especially when you have a vision of how the way you hear something in your head, it's like, oh, okay, that should sound like this. Like, people have different languages of how they express ideas or even how they
even
carry those out. You perceive those ideas. But with these two, I feel like we have enough like intersections as far as like stuff that we enjoy and, the things that we hear in music that we value, that it's just, we don't really have to talk a lot. I don't know. Like we have our own vocabulary, like when we do talk, but
sure.
Yeah, it's just been like for the first set of songs we had, like how many practices did it take for us to get like a set? Like
not that many.
No.
Yeah. And
it's
now
unusual to find people with such good musical chemistry that you can actually just go for it and understand each other and create together and be happy about it.
Yeah, because I've played in bands where it took us 2 or 3 years to come up with 7 solid songs. And I think right now we have like
there's
15.
Yeah. Like I definitely have like a bank of ideas that like every time we show up, I can be like, hey, check this out. But like I don't have to drive into practice like, oh, it's going to be pulling teeth. They're not going to understand the song. And
you don't have to brace yourself for a fight every time.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure it'll come sometime soon. But so far it's just like, hey, I have this idea, and then it just works out.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Let's actually take a quick break, play a message from our sponsor. But I want to, when we come back, obviously you're doing a recording, right? Swans of Never is going to be doing a recording.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. And you have some upcoming shows. So we're going to talk about that, plus more Swans of Never. But we're going to take a quick break really fast. We'll be right back. So hang tight. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Jed's Barbershop. With 3 locations now, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday 9 to 7, and Sunday 12 to 5. They have a location downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. They just opened up a 3rd location at 167 East, 900 South, right next to Randy's Records. No appointment is necessary. Head on over to jedsbarbershop.com for more information. Let's talk about the upcoming shows that you're going to be playing, because you mentioned you were going to be playing a few. I think there's going to be one coming up, but this podcast I think is coming out right after that show. Yeah. So if you made that show, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we made it.
So let's talk about some upcoming shows that you guys have got going on.
So we've got one coming up May 4th at Urban Lounge. Still working out the kinks on that one.
This will definitely be up before May 4th. Or March 4th.
No,
May 4th.
Yeah. So we've got a few things coming up, and then I'm actually doing a solo show in Ogden March 18th.
Okay.
So like you said, we were wanting to record a record, and so it's like, okay, I guess it's time to do what bands should do when they want to make a record. We got to play shows and earn it. So I'll be playing that one on my own, all this talk about the solo stuff.
But why not Liz and Alex?
Yes. So Alex
we would love
they
to.
Would love to, yeah.
So my husband Alex is a musician turned accountant / CPA, which is totally normal, of course.
So he got all businessy.
Yeah, he got all suit and tie. So it's his busy season with
tax
year-end.
season.
Yeah. So.
But we sat down and had this conversation. It's like, okay, we've got like several songs, but like we really, really want to record them. And it's like, okay, well, we can do like the DIY thing and kind of do it on our own for a bit, because I feel like we could do that. But it's just one of those things. I guess we're old school in that way. It's like, okay, well, we want to go to a recording studio.
Sure.
And so the next few months, we're dedicated to, okay, we're gonna earn some cash flow in order to do that, because the whole idea of like Kickstarter, we kicked around the idea of like, oh well, let's just do like, could we do a Kickstarter? And it's just like, I'm not so sure about that. Just
why not? No.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things that we're just like, I don't know.
A fear of maybe not making it.
There's always that, and the thing is, like, the name hasn't been around for so long. The Swans of Never name. Like, I feel like we have a lot of great support of people who would support what we would do, but it's just, especially with this like brand new world of like, I don't want to say technology, but just like that kind of access people can have with you. I'm not against it. Like, I've definitely have like Patreon. Like, I definitely donate towards a few things like that. So
sure,
I'm open to that. But I don't know. There's always, I guess for me, it could be a fear thing, because I've definitely kicked around the idea for other projects I've had, but it's just like,
do you feel like you're on the hook to the people who donate if you like raise money to put out and
I think you should be if you do that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
but you don't have to. You're not on the hook. Like, if you don't make a Kickstarter, you don't have to do it. Like, nobody's out any money if the Kickstarter's not made.
That's true.
Yeah,
but I think there's also a sense like, well, if you do make it, you have to like, you actually have to do it. I'm not saying we wouldn't do it, but it's like, you want to give that some sort of value to the person other than just like, well, here's a record. It's like, I think especially the way music is right now, and I think you just, or even just business in general, like, you need to reciprocate that value with someone. It's like, it's not enough these days just to be like, oh, you bought my record, thanks a lot. You've got, Facebook Live, people are doing like things like that.
Sure.
Or whatever else.
There's so much more expected, right? You got to do a little dance, and this comes with a free lap dance, right? I mean, seriously, people expect a lot more than just a couple of songs.
I think that's completely fair.
Do you think so, though?
Yeah, I do.
Do you think we've gotten spoiled maybe a little bit?
Oh, yeah. But I think it's cool, though. But I think as far as I'm concerned, like, I think there's something to be said about like putting in the work like to earn people's trust. Like if someone comes and sees us at a show and watches kill it, I'd rather have that, and then someone just be like, okay, cool. Like next time I see you, I know you guys are going to rock. And by the time you have a record, I'm going to support that. And then I think you've built that goodwill. So like if you make that ask, it's like, okay, we're going in to record like a full length. Are you going to pitch in like $20? And that person's gonna be like, I'm on it. Like,
Sure.
So I think, at least for me, like, you know, like I was saying earlier, like using that band name for so long, and then either having a band or not, you know, it's like, okay, like I've been doing this for a long time. I've been asking people to come to my shows for forever. It's just like, okay, like it's not a matter of like put up or shut up or something like that, but it's just, let's just give people something
How
good.
much does it cost? I mean, or maybe you can't even answer this, but if to go into the studio to record a full length, what are we looking at? I mean, what is it? $10,000, $5,000?
It depends.
It really depends. Yeah, it depends.
I mean, that's kind of
like,
a hard question, I guess.
Yeah, like, I mean, the ideas that we have, you know, we definitely want to go into the studio, you know, with a couple songs, and it's like, okay, like realistically, like what can we do? We're all very confident in our skills, but it's like, okay, what can we do to record a couple songs that let people know what we're doing, what we sound like, if they don't want to spend $6 to go in a show. So for us, it's like, wow, it could be like $300 just to record like one or two songs. Well,
Sure.
not like great, not like putting like the sparkle shine on it, you know, or anything like that, but just like punk rock, bash it out in a room, you know, a couple overdubs here and there. But that's like $300, you know, like, I mean, it sounds like nothing, but if you're like,
Oh, it sounds like a lot to me.
yeah, like to some people it might
it's an
not. I mean,
investment.
I'm pretty frugal myself. So it's like, you know, so it's just being responsible with what we're giving or what we want to give to people and how we want to get there.
So it sounds like you guys still have to sit down and figure it out, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Thus the shows. Like we just really want to get out there and play and, you know, gain some support, some support, especially of people. Especially it's been 6 years. There's people who haven't even heard the name. Like I still have people every now and again like, oh, I think I saw you play opening for this guy, but have they seen me since then? Have they seen anything I've been a part of since then?
And
Probably not.
Your wife is pretty supportive, right, Matt, or no?
Yeah. She's pretty. She has an entrepreneurial spirit as well.
Does she play music?
No, I tried teaching her bass once. I tried teaching her a Smashing Pumpkins song, and she did really well, but she just didn't really
Have the
Just-
heart?
It wasn't her thing.
Yeah.
What about your kids? Are they musically inclined?
Yeah,
at all?
my daughter, like she just barely picked up the violin,
Really?
like last year, and she tried doing like a keyboard class too at school, but she didn't really go that way. But she loves the violin, so I don't know. She's almost 10, and then I remember when I was 10, I was getting pretty into music, but I've always kind of been into music. But we'll still see about her. But
Is that important to you for your kids to play music?
I thought it was at first, but then like when you have kids for a while, you're just like, you know what, they're just going to do their own damn
Like,
thing.
just don't die. Don't kill anyone else. Whatever you do is fine.
Do you have kids, Liz?
No,
No?
not yet.
I was just curious, you know, how that, you know, it's like, gosh, you want,
Yeah.
like, because my mom forced music on. I took violin
Yeah.
lessons for like 4 or 5 years myself, right? And I hated it. And I wished she would have. Still to this day, I have anger for the way she forced that on. I know that sounds so bad, but I just had no. And then she, you know, guitar lessons, banjo lessons, piano lessons, all this stuff. I think she just thought eventually I'd want to play, and it's like I just have no interest to play music. It's just not
Yeah.
my thing.
Yeah, one thing, especially now that my daughter is getting older, like we have different conversations these days, and I was talking to her, I'm like, well, maybe you should practice your violin. You know, you've got some songs to learn for school. And then I was like, you know what? If you keep with this and you're like 22 years old and you play the violin, people are going to think that's badass. Not to put that like social like pressure on her or anything, but
She can
If
play in
you want people to
symphonies and
like
stuff
you.
like that.
say what was
She
that?
can play in symphonies and
Yeah, I
stuff.
mean, like,
if
or
she-
rock bands.
or
Yeah.
rock band.
I mean,
Well, now, and see, that was the thing too. When I was that young, no rock bands had it. Now, a lot of really cool
Yeah.
bands have incorporated the violin.
Yeah.
and the banjo.
And the
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I mean, I even told her that I'm like, I'm not trying to pressure you to do anything that's going to be like cool or anything.
as you're
like
writing
that.
the check out for the lesson.
Yeah, but like, I mean, but I even bring them to practice, like,
Yeah.
like just be like, you know what, like, Liz is awesome. She's a great role model. Like,
I thought you were going to say babysitter.
well, I don't know. Maybe I'll call her.
The
sometime
NES
soon.
Classic, the Nintendo we
Yeah.
have, is a great babysitter.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is
while we play.
the best babysitter.
yeah.
Yeah. But my son, he's 4, and all he cares about is like running around naked and stuff like that. So we'll see about
There's
him.
careers in that too, right?
Yeah.
There are careers in that.
Yeah, but then like there's little things here and there. Like I'll be like playing like Jimmy Eat World in the car, and I can just hear a little voice in the back like try to sing along. I'm like, okay, maybe, I don't know. So
Maybe he has a chance over here. Right?
Yeah, but as far as like expectations or anything like that, I don't have any expectations for them to.
You're not going to
follow
try to
that.
live out your dreams through your children.
No,
Probably a good idea.
I see a lot of parents doing
Oh,
that.
so many parents do that.
Yeah.
It's
Well, so what motivates the both of you to keep creating music?
it just keeps happening.
Yeah. Well, something's got to
I
drive you,
can't
right?
help it.
Yeah.
Like, it just happens.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people can go back into the archives a little bit, like, but the last time we talked, like, I was like pretty close, like, to stop playing, like,
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of things have changed, but like even like through those times where it's like I just don't want to do this anymore, but you just still like sit down, you still play, like not for the name of like we were saying earlier, like making it or anything like that. It's just happens. Like you just get a wild idea in your head and you have to go search it out, and all of a sudden like you've got a song. So that's where it is for me, and I think. And I have these thoughts too. It's like, oh, am I going to be 45 and still playing music and still playing shows? I'm like, maybe. I don't know.
Is that
Why not?
is that a bad
no,
thing?
but that's the thing. It's like
I mean,
coming to terms with that. It's like, that's not bad. Like you're still doing what you want to do.
Hey, I'm almost 40 here, guys.
Like, I'll tell you like one band in particular that kind of like got me thinking about this. There's 2 bands actually.
The Rolling Stones, right? They're still.
That's actually number 3. I've been thinking a lot. They've been coming up a lot. Like when I'm just like listening to podcasts for some reason about Rolling Stones. Just
Yeah.
like they're just still killing it and doing it. But first one's like the National. Those guys are like,
They're old, aren't they?
they're older.
older.
Yeah. But this band called Beach Slang, they're like a punk rock thing, and the songwriter of that band, he's in his 40s and he's like still killing it. Not I want to say still killing it, but like he had gotten the job, he had gotten the design firm, like sexy thing that you're like supposed to do, but like he just wanted to keep writing songs. And, and now his band's touring like crazy and he's going for it. I mean, not to say that, I'm going to go for it that much gusto, but like, it's like, you know what? Like there's something to be said about still doing what you're passionate about, despite what else life has for you.
Well, and I think it's important, especially I find this even in myself, where it's so easy to just come home after work and just veg out and not do anything, right? Yeah. Especially the older you get. So I think it's important as we get older to find some of those, I hate to even say youthful hobbies, right? But things that kind of get you out and moving and alive, and to just do that. Because I think so often we're afraid, be 45. Do you want to be that 45-year-old guy playing in the bars? And why not? Who says you can't?
When I was going to high school, I went in Milwaukee, and I went to school with the kids of one of the main newscasters in Milwaukee. So they were like popular because he was really famous. And he played in a band in bars just for fun in his spare time. And everybody in high school thought it was so cool. So it's all perspective. And if you enjoy it.
Yeah. And I mean, as far as like that making it question, and that's just really a part of it. And so yeah, it's just something that I'm going to keep doing, especially like Liz and Alex. Like I'd be surprised like 15 years from now, they're still like, if they weren't playing anymore, I'd be really shocked if they weren't playing.
Yeah. Call for help if that happens. Because I've played drums since I was 13. I make drums too, and then I give drum lessons as well. So I love playing drums, and
you couldn't imagine your life without them, right?
Yeah, it'd be really weird to just even not have a drum kit at my house or something like that. So
what do you like least about playing music, though? There's got to be something that you just don't like, or maybe not. I don't know.
Well, like whenever I have an idea but I can't seem to crack the code on the song, like get it completed, like that's frustrating. Like there are songs I still have that are like 2 years old, like I have the bones of it, but like where do I put the heart? Where do I put the kidney? Like it's not done yet, and it drives me nuts.
Sure.
So that's the most frustrating part. And especially like, because I think I'm an idea guy. So I have these ideas and I get them done. But for me, getting them done is like, I really want to record. Like to me, it's like, okay, it's there forever, you know? So just having a lot of songs, but nowhere to really like put them. I mean, I don't really care if, you know, people remember me in 60 years or anything like that. Like that's not like legacy or whatever. Like that's not that. It's just for myself, you know, like that finish line is there. Like I want to cross it with these songs. And so that's the frustrating part for me personally. What do you not like about playing music, Liz?
It's mostly practicing. Like drums.
So you don't outgrow that.
You just want the finished product,
teacher,
right? You're just like, oh,
yeah. And especially nowadays, seeing these drummers on YouTube and you just see them absolutely kill it. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. And you think it through and then you start to play and you're like, oh no, that's not how it works. Like that person probably took 20 hours to learn this entire song. So, and as like a drum nerd, I play left-handed. So probably the most frustrating thing is my right hand because it never is going to be as fast as my left hand or fluent. So
are you left-handed in general?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, like
man.
everything.
No wonder you're so creative.
Isn't your son Chrissy? He's left-handed.
Yeah,
he wants to
my
play
son's
drums,
lefty.
right? No.
Oh, he wants to play drums.
Yeah.
Hey.
So, okay. What advice? Hopefully, he's not listening to this podcast.
Don't say get a drum set.
No.
Don't say get a drum set.
What to any musicians and people that are starting out? What advice would you give them?
I don't know. Just enjoy it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like I feel like what was really good for me growing up is that I had parents that were supportive in a way where it's like they kind of let me follow that path, even though like either my dad thought it was like a little weird or whatever. They did. I definitely wanted to be a drummer at first, but they didn't let me because we lived in a condo at the time. But they still kind of let me follow that path. And so I don't know, like I just was really open to everything at first and like trying to learn as much as I could those first like 4 or 5 years. I mean, see, like I differ from Liz in the fact that she's like she wants to be like proficient and technically sound. Whereas like for me, I believe that ship has sailed. Like I just want to write good songs. Like I'm not going to be Dimebag Darrell. Like I'm not going to be Eddie Van Halen as far as that goes. But like I'd rather write songs. And so, but I think that came from, you know, growing up and really figuring out how that works. So I don't know, like what I would tell a kid is just do what you like, you know, like if you ever find a really rad guitar teacher, like if you want to do that and learn songs that you want to learn, make him teach you. And if he doesn't want to do that, you know, have the guts to try and do it yourself, especially with YouTube now. If I had YouTube when I was a kid,
it's way different.
Yeah, it's way different now.
Everything's on YouTube.
Yeah, everything's on YouTube.
You should be able to learn anything you want.
Right.
Yeah.
And quickly, right?
Actually, there was something the other day I wanted to learn. I looked it up on YouTube. Couldn't figure out, you know.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said about having like real talent because
Sure.
I mean, I could work really, really hard on trying to be a better soloist or whatever, but maybe I just don't have the talent to do that. I don't know. I could either put in the hard work or just kind of not rest on my laurels, but know what I'm good at and work at that. There's this guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you know him.
Actually, when you said that, I'm like, that was what Gary Vaynerchuk just said.
Did you hear the Joe Rogan episode when he was on Joe Rogan? Like
I
just
listened
the
to half
other
of it.
Oh my! You have to finish that.
Okay.
One of the best podcast episodes ever listened to.
It was really amazing.
I don't know. I just kind of spent a lot of time, like especially, you know, high school or whatever, like trying to do things I just wasn't very good at. And so I think when things really opened up for me is, like I said earlier, it's like, okay, I know I'm not going to be this guy over here, but I know I'm good at this. So I'm going to go for that. You know, I don't think I'm ever going to be like a Ryan Adams or anything like that because he's like freaking amazing, or like a Noel Gallagher as far as like writing those kind of songs, but I hope to, and I want to do that. So yeah, if I just had anything for kids just coming up, just do what you like and keep doing it.
Yeah, I would say just don't put too much pressure on yourself,
Yeah.
kind of like what we were talking about earlier. I mean, it's good to have goals and aspirations, but at the same time, remember where you're at right now and have fun and enjoy it.
I could definitely speak to that because like I went on tour like right out of high school, like 18. And when I was like 12, 13 years old, like watching like VHS tapes of Smashing Pumpkins, it's like, I want to do that. But then it's like, oh, like we were saying before, it's like, wait, this wasn't exactly what I was hoping for, you know? So just like have fun while you're at it. Like, you know, definitely like, I think
Enjoy the
definitely
journey.
have goal. Like just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know,
And that should be that way with anything in life.
Yeah.
Really. Let's actually shift directions towards Salt Lake City here for a minute.
Yeah.
If someone was visiting Salt Lake City for just a day, what would you tell them to do or check out? I don't know if we talked about this on.
Things might have changed with me though. If we,
Yeah, well, no, and I mean this was so
What,
long
you grew
ago.
as a person?
I guess so.
I mean,
strange.
you know, I don't know. I know you live a little north of Salt Lake City.
Now I do, yeah.
Now you do. I don't know where you live, Liz, but
Mill Creek.
okay. So I mean, is there like something you would tell them to do or check out?
I'm kind of I work downtown and I'm shocked with like how many like awesome restaurants there are around here. So if someone just wants something good to eat, I mean, you can't. There's really no like shortage of like really cool places that you could go. For instance, like I mean, I'm not vegan, but I went to like the newer like location of like Sage's Cafe, and like that was awesome. It's like I can recommend that place regardless to anyone, you know.
See, and I haven't been. I used to go to the old location down on 300 South there.
Yeah, and so like I don't know, I like food maybe to an unhealthy degree, but yeah, I was just pointing to like just the multitude of restaurants and the fact that we have so much culture here, like. We have access to great movies, you know, on Broadway or at the Tower. It's really like if you come to Salt Lake and can't find something to do, I think it's your problem.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
What about you, Liz?
Yeah, so I actually have a good amount of friends and family, not from Utah, that will come in and visit. Thanksgiving being one example where we had probably 20 family members come visit. So I usually will do a different slew of things, but one is Ensign Peak. So just a quick hike, jazz game. My husband's a huge Utah jazz fan.
Yeah, why did I forget about that? I love the jazz.
I was going to say,
Are you
I thought
even
you
a
were
jazz
Yeah, I
fan?
am. Yeah, I am. I blew it.
No redos.
No, I'm done.
And then I've been all about Public lately, just
Yeah.
to get some coffee and toast. So those three
I've heard about the
things.
toast there is ridiculous.
It's amazing. Because at first I was like, this is pretty pricey for toast, $5.
But
I was
with
like,
that,
I'm sold.
there's always jazz players hanging out now, I guess. So
did see
they have a
At
lot.
Public?
Yeah, I guess we have some coffee nerds on the Utah Jazz now, so that's pretty cool.
Boris Diaw, I
Yep.
saw at Public. Rudy Gobert,
Yeah.
too.
Joe Ingles, he asked out for recommendations. I'm like, you got to go to Public, and he's
I want to bring some jazz players on this podcast.
really
So if
should.
anybody
Do it.
listening has connections, let us know.
Kidnap them.
Seriously.
Bring them to
I
our
think it
studio.
would be a little tough, like during season to bring
Totally.
them on, but
Yeah.
maybe after or before. It's always
Yeah.
been.
we could use our networking prowess.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But if you could change something about Salt Lake City, what would you change?
The air.
The hair, isn't it? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
So
it's
bad.
I
horrible.
second that, yeah.
Yeah, I
that's-
could get on a soapbox here if I wanted to
Yeah.
about political stuff, but I'm not. I do that. If you want that, just follow me on social media. I don't-
Follow everybody
Please.
on social
Yeah,
media
everyone from-
right now.
everyone
It's
from Utah.
horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. But so let's run down the list again. Shows coming up or social media. Let's kind
Yeah,
of
let's
as
do-
we wrap this up a little
Yeah,
bit
let's do
here.
social media. So you can find us on Twitter. I believe that's Swans of Never Music or Swans of Never.
And I'll put the correct links.
Yeah.
I'll put the correct links with this
Yeah.
at iamsaltlake.com.
It's such a unique name. Usually I can find like, yeah, that's open, but like I've had, there's a couple of places like, how does someone do that? But yeah, Facebook, Swans of Never. Instagram, we have a brand new Instagram, so we like to make stories about our practices and what we're eating or drinking before practice. We like doing that a lot. So yeah, social, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram will be there.
Cool. In anything else you want to mention? The shows, urban,
Yeah.
maybe it's still
Yeah.
unconfirmed.
Yeah, but like no, we'll be around. Like this year, when we sat down, we're just like, we're gonna freaking play a show every month if we can. That's a goal of ours to just be active.
Yeah.
So
Now, is there I know you have some older songs, Swans of Never, on
Yeah.
Bandcamp. Can I stitch one of those
Yes.
songs at the very end of this podcast? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll surprise you, I guess, maybe as we do the outro, or is there a song specifically?
If you listen to one and you like one, you go ahead.
Okay.
So-
Okay, I'll surprise you. I'll
surprise
stitch
me.
a Swans of Never, unless there's another song.
Go for it.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I'll stitch one of those in at the very end of this episode. Thank you so much, Liz and Matt, for coming back on. I'll put the links to the episodes that you were on
Yeah.
previously. Anything else you want to ask them, Chrissy?
Not that wouldn't start a big conversation.
I'm sure you want.
Well, no. I mean, if you have another question,
Let's talk about the air.
It would really open up too much. So I know we got to wrap up.
well, no, it's okay. Well, thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna come check you guys out when you're playing here in Salt Lake. I probably won't make it to Ogden, but
No. Yeah. You can if you want.
cool. We'll end it there. Thanks, guys. All right. Many thanks to Matthew and Liz from Swans of Never for coming on this episode. Remember, you can head on over to imsaltlake.com/264. It's for episode 264 for links and everything to get in touch with them. Go check out one of their shows. Go check out their music. Let them know you heard them on this episode. I think it's so cool when we kind of tell each other, hey, you know what? I heard you on that episode of I Am Salt Lake.
It's really cool.
So cool when people talk about it on Facebook or Twitter. I love to see the conversations.
Oh, and I went to a fun little cocktail club the other night. And when I would run into people, I would say, I know this person because of the podcast. And they're like, oh my gosh, I listened to that episode.
It's so
And so
cool.
people kind of already knew each other because they'd listened to episodes of the podcast.
I love it. It's, I
Yeah.
mean, that's slowly, that was the idea of the podcast is to
was awesome.
get us all networked together.
Yep.
We can
and
all become
they feel like they
friends.
know each other before they even meet. It's really fun.
This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Jed's Barbershop. With 3 locations now, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday 9 to 7, and Sunday 12 to 5. Their brand new 3rd location just barely opened up, like I said, at 167 East, 900 South. It's right next door to Randy's Records. They also have a location downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. No appointment is necessary. Go check them out. 3 locations. Find out more at jedsbarbershop.com. Speaking of Jed's Barbershop, there's a couple of art shows that I want to mention that they're going to be having at the downtown location. So mark these on your calendar. March 12th at 7 p.m., artist Abby Pittman. Looks like there's a musician playing, Branson Anderson. So that should be a fun night. Again, that's March 12th from like 7 to 9 is when they do that. Go check out the art and music. April 9th, artist Samantha Moore, musician Brotherman. Again, that's 7 to 9. These are all going to be happening at their downtown location, which is 212 South, 700 East, which is kind of right down there by Sprouts, and kind of in that little complex there.
I love how Jed's showcases so many local people.
He is all about the local community.
Yeah, it's so great.
Great guy. And if you didn't listen to that interview that we did with Jed, owner of Jed's Barbershop, go back there
You should listen to it.
and listen to him. Give him support. He is a big supporter
He is.
of this podcast. I mean, we could not do it without his support, and of course your support as well. But hey, so I want to chat a little bit, Chrissy, here about NPS. I've been telling you about this place, right?
Yeah.
I said, in a previous life, I used to be a full-time eBay seller, and I was always telling you about NPS. And
Well, the way you talked about it, I thought it was this little rinky store with like one little room with a couple of things that got lost in the mail. I
no
was like,
way.
I don't understand what this is.
the last 2 Saturdays we went down there, I introduced you to it. The first
Yes.
time there was like an hour. I was
Yeah.
like, well, I don't know if you're really going to be able to absorb this fully in an hour. Yesterday we allowed a little bit more time,
What, were we there for 3 hours?
and we
2
still didn't
hours?
see it all.
No, we just got tired and had to leave.
But basically, for people listening, I mean, it's this giant warehouse full of all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, you got food, you got shoes, you got art. I mean, you got
They have
electronics.
good shoes and good clothes.
I'm not sure where they get everything, but I know a lot of it is like lost packages in the mail. So it's like a giant warehouse, a lot of expired food, which I don't even know how they fully legally get away with
Yeah.
that. I mean,
That's the interesting thing. Is that legal?
I have no idea.
Because
I did know you wanted to go back for a box of the ice cream.
Oh my gosh, I forgot the ice cream.
And I know I was supposed to tell you, but there was a part of me that was like, it was outdated.
You remembered and you didn't tell me.
Well, because it was outdated.
It's ice cream.
Well, true.
I don't know.
True.
Plus, I was going to feed it to the kids anyway.
No, but it's such a fascinating place. And it's funny because I actually kind of forgot about this place.
Yeah.
Until recently. And there's a part of me that's like, well, maybe I should start selling a few things on eBay again. You know, I could really, I could really use a few extra bucks. And so I introduced you to NPS. We'd love to hear your funny. Does anybody out there have any funny NPS stories?
You have to. If you've been there, you have to have at least one funny story.
Oh my gosh!
I'm convinced.
Some of the most bizarre things there. I mean, just huge abundance amounts. I mean, what did you even buy? You bought like some bunch of travel toothpastes and stuff.
Know.
Like,
yes, they were really cute travel toothpastes.
That,
Yeah.
I mean, you could find some of the most random things.
We found like a panda bear lamp at one point that was like Japanese. You couldn't read anything because it was all Japanese, and the button was even like not the button, the plug was like multi-cultural. It had like 5 different plugs in it.
Like the European plug.
The European. It was like European, American, Japanese. It's so cool.
Anyway, send those emails to us. We'd love to hear your stories. Hey, but we found the mail key, Chrissy.
Yeah, no one knows what a big deal this is.
Nobody even probably knew it was lost because we just stopped talking about the mail. So we have a mail key here at our office. We misplaced it. I found it in my book bag, kind of tucked away in a little compartment. Mm-hmm. So we were so excited to come to the office today because we're like, we could check our mail. There was a Christmas card.
I know, we got
what
a
is
Christmas
it,
card.
February, and we finally got this Christmas card from Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle. She's so awesome. And yeah, so we finally got it. We have the really cool picture of her and her husband and cute puppy Christmas card.
It is so cool to
now we're going to put it in our office.
Put it in the office. It's so cool. I mean, I know a lot of you out there are traveling. It would be cool to get a postcard from you.
Oh man, how cool would it be to have a postcard wall? From listeners.
Let's make it happen, you guys. Yeah. I mean, seriously, send us a letter, send us a postcard, send us anything. We'd love to get some correspondence from you. If you don't want to mail us anything, that's fine. But here's the address. It's 2225 South, 500 East, Suite 16, Salt Lake City, Utah, 84106. Make sure to address it to one of us, Chris or Chrissy or Chris and Chrissy.
Or Chrissy.
Yeah, whatever. But I mean, there's no point of any of this if we're not connected.
It's true.
We'd love to, if you're a local band, you have a CD, feel free to send it to us. Mm-hmm. We'd love to check it out. Postcards, letters, anything. Send that.
Just not bombs. No bombs.
No, that wouldn't be a good idea. Make sure to connect with us on social media. All the links for that are going to be found at iamsaltlake.com. Whatever you do, let's connect. I mean, you can dig through the back catalog there on the website as well. Everything's at iamsaltlake.com. My email is chris@iamsaltlake.com.
Mine is chrissy@iamsaltlake.com, and that's KRISSIE.
All right, let's close out this episode with the Swans of Never song. I know I mentioned this in the interview with Matt and Liz. The song that I'm going to be playing is called Anything Will Be Different. You can go and download it at their Bandcamp website. I'll put that link up with the episode show notes. Again, iamsaltlake.com/264. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Good night, Grammy.